Hello class, good morning. Today is Friday, April 22nd, and what you're going to do for today is watch this video and take notes on these 6 problems. I'm going to try to do a few more if I have time left over, but your assignment is to watch the video, take notes, and complete these 13 problems at home. Okay? I mean at home, in class. So you want to complete these 13 problems in class. I'm going to go ahead and start so that we can cover as many problems as possible. Okay, we're going to combine everything that we have learned so far: simplifying, multiplying, and dividing rational expressions. When you simplify, you're either going to use the greatest common factor if you have 2 terms or 1 term, or you're going to use the CB table if you have 3 terms. Okay, so I guess I'm going to put 1 or 2. So for example, for number 1, you have 1 term. That 1 term is 12x over 6 divided by 42x over 4. So I'm going to use the greatest common factor between the 2. The greatest common factor between 12 and 42 is, and you guys tell me, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12 as factors for 12. I'm going to move 42 up here since I ran out of space. Okay, 42 would be 1, 2, I don't think anything goes into, 42 goes into 3. Okay, it does. 3 and 14. 42 divided by 4 doesn't go in, 5 doesn't, 6, 7, 14, 21, and 42. Okay, so those are the factors of 42. The greatest common factor that they have is 4. Oops, just kidding. I saw 14 and thought it was 4. The greatest common factor that they have is 6. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 42 divided by 6 is apparently 7. Okay, and then I still have 6 x's on the top and 4 x's on the bottom. When I eliminate 4 x's from the top because of the 4 x's on the bottom, I'm left with 2x squared over 7. And that is your final answer. So find the greatest common factor between the 2 terms and then eliminate x's as necessary. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 says x squared plus 8x plus 15. This is 1, 2, 3 terms, so that means I'm going to use my CB table. Well, you guys know what C is equal to, and you know what B is equal to. So now I list the factors of 15, which are easy. 1 and 15, 5 and 3. If I add 5 plus 3 together, I get 8. So those are my factors, positive 5 and positive 3. X plus 5 and x plus 3. So x squared plus 8x plus 15 is rewritten as x plus 5 times x plus 3. This has only 2 terms, so then I'm going to find the greatest common factor between the 2. The greatest common factor between 3 and 9 is 3. So I'm going to put 3 on the outside. 3x divided by 3 is x, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So those are my factors. I can cancel out what's the same from the top and the bottom. And now I'm just left with x plus 5 divided by 3. Final answer. Hopefully you guys are getting the hang of simplifying by now. You know, starting to get the CB table, starting to understand how to factor. Okay, so now we go to number 3, multiply or divide. In this case, we're multiplying because of the symbol. And when we multiply, we just multiply straight across. But you want to factor if possible, so that way you can eliminate common terms. If you look at 5x plus 20, that's 2 terms. Whenever you have 2 terms, you're going to use the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor between 5 and 20 is 5. So I'm going to write x plus 3 the same. I'm going to factor out of 5. 5x divided by 5 is 1x. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Then I'm going to do a CB table for this one. The CB table says that what are the factors of 2 that add up to 3? That makes our life easy. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So my factors are x plus 1 and x plus 2, x plus 1 and x plus 2. And then on the bottom, we're going to factor the factors of 6 that add up to 5. In this case, again, it's 3 times 2, 1 times 6. When I add 3 plus 2 together, I get 5. So automatically we found our factors, x plus 3 and x plus 2. And as a hint to your, sorry, I don't know how long that was there, but as a hint, whatever's in the bottom or the top, that's what's going to be your factors. Okay, let's take out x plus 2, x plus 3, and now we're just left with x plus 1 in the numerator and 5 times x plus 4 in the denominator. There's your final answer. Okay, division. This is something that not all of you guys know, but when you divide fractions, you actually multiply times the reciprocal. So I'm going to keep x squared minus x minus 12 the same. I'm going to keep my first fraction the same. I'm going to change my division sign to multiplication and flip this around. So I'm going to have 6 over x squared minus 6x plus 8. Now you can multiply straight across. So remember, anytime you're dividing fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, we have 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, so we're going to use the CB table. Okay, the CB tells us that C is equal to negative 12 and B is equal to negative 1. This is a negative 12, this is a negative 1. What are the factors of negative 12? We know 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. One of them has to be negative. So 12 minus 1 is 11, 6 minus 2 is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. We're very close here, but I need a negative 1. So I'm going to make this positive and the 4 negative. Negative 4 plus 3 is actually equal to negative 1. So our factors are x plus 3 and x minus 4 over 4x plus 12. There's only 2 terms. When there's only 2 terms, we find the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor between 4 and 12 is 4. 4x divided by 4 is x, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. Look, we already have some common factors, which is exactly what we want. Times 6 over, and then x squared minus 6x plus 8. You want to do your CB table. C is equal to 8 and B is equal to negative 6. What 2 numbers can I multiply together to get 8? 4 times 2, but it needs to be equal to a negative 6. I know that 4 plus 2 is equal to a positive 6. So if I make them both negative, then I'm going to get a negative 6, which is exactly what we want here. So I'm going to have x minus 4 times x minus 2 as my factors. I can now cancel out the x minus 4, the x plus 3, and I'm left with 6 over 4 times x minus 2. I can reduce this fraction by 2. So I'm left with 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. My final answer. I know I'm going fast through this, so you can always rewind, you can always pause, you can always slow down the speed of my voice. Okay? Let's go to number 5. Number 5 says you have to divide. So remember, when you are dividing, you end up multiplying times the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip this over. 9x fourth divided by 5x. Oopsies, this is a 6. times 15x squared over 45x to the power of 3. If you notice here, they're all one term. So when you have one term, you're going to find the greatest common factor between the four of them. Let's see, what do they have in common? I know the 5 and the 15 have 5 in common. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. And that's probably about it. I know that I can eliminate 6 x's, 4, 5, 6 x's from the top and 6 x's from the bottom. And so now I'm left with 3 times 9, which gives me 27, over 45x cubed times 1. And now that I'm looking at the function, the fraction, these do have a common factor, and it is 9. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3, and 45 divided by 9 is 5. There we go. That's the final answer. Okay, let's look at number 6, last problem. This has two terms, so I need to find the greatest common factor between the two, which actually happens to be 6. 6 times x gives me 6x, and 6 times 4 gives me 24. If you want to look at it the other way, 6x divided by 6 is 1x, 24 divided by 6 is 4. Okay, let's look at the 5's and the negative 35. The common denominator is 5. 5x divided by 5 is 1x. Negative 35 divided by 5 is a negative 7. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times x is 7 is negative 35. So it's just another way of rewriting the same thing. The common factor between 9 and 63 is 9. 9x divided by 9 is 1x. 63 divided by 9 is 7. But since it's a negative 63, then I need a negative 7. Which, yay, we already have common factors in the top and the bottom. And then the common factors between 7 and 28 is 7. 7 times x plus 4. 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times 4 is 28. If you notice, by now, hopefully you've noticed the pattern that usually the first number is the greatest common factor. We can eliminate x minus 7, x plus 4, and now I'm left with just these numbers. 9 times 6 is 54, and 7 times 5 is 35. Yay, you guys are finished with the notes. We have 2 minutes left in the video, so I'll try to solve like another division problem on the other side to help you. You might have to do these problems on a separate sheet of paper because they're going to take up a lot of room. So let's do a division problem. Let's do this one. Okay, so I'm going to keep everything the same in the first fraction. I'm going to convert my division into multiplication. And then I'm going to multiply times the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip this over. And then I'm going to multiply straight across. Before I multiply, I need to get I need to get common factors. So I got 1, 2, 3 terms, 1, 2, 3 terms. So that's going to be a CB table. This one I can't do anything, and this one I can get the greatest common factors, and there's only 2 terms. Okay, the question is, what are the factors of negative 12 that add up to negative 1? Well, we already know that 4 times 3 gave us that earlier. So 4 times 3, it's right here. Here. 4 times 3 gives us 3 times a negative 4 gives us negative 12. Adds up to negative 1, so our factors are positive 3 and negative 4. Okay, so I have x plus 3 times x minus 4 in the numerator. The greatest common factor between 3 and 9 is 3. And I'm left with 3x plus 3. I'm going to leave the numerator the same, and then I'm going to do a CB table for negative 20 and 1. 5 times 4 is 20, and that add up to -1, but one of them has